and it's a 3.
Order now at macros.com.au.
Welcome to GTV ANZ, the gaming channel created by Ubisoft. Every Tuesday and Friday on YouTube, we'll be doing fast plays, game challenges, 1v1 face-offs, and so much more. You happy?
When did we get a dog?
It's a good question.
I'm running out of time. I'm running on a feeling song. I'm running out of time.
And now, it's all on the save. The player heroic.
Playday 3 and we're back for Oceanic Nationals presented by Samsung. It's incredible to be back over the sunny Sydney side. Unfortunately, we're Melbourne side. Vars, I don't know where you are. I'm not going to dox you either, but we are back and we're ready for, I would say, one of the most tantalising days that we have in OCN. I'm looking at all the games that we've got coming up and it's sure to be a banger. But it's good to have the team back. Dev, welcome back for your first time on OCN in Stage 3.
It's actually been a little while. I'm keen to get back into it, get stuck into some OCN goodness.
That's one way to put it. Vast, how you feeling after your day of APAC South?
Yeah, it was awesome. Really exciting games. I don't know, I just had fun with it. I'm happy to be back in OCN, but no, it was really good filling in for Xenox.
Believe me, it was really good for us too. Getting an amateur off the desk and getting someone in with a bit more stature was lovely. But let's go ahead, have a look at the standings for today and where they currently sit. As of Playday 3, now, no real surprises in the top two. I think that was always to be expected between Bliss and Chiefs, but it's where it kind of staggers down from there, Dev, that we really start to go, whoa, hang on a second.
Yeah, definitely seeing a team like Knights and even Order so low on the standings, albeit very early in the game, is a bit of a surprise. In particular, I feel like Order is a team that has really dropped the ball in OCN so far. They are at the very bottom, below rhythm. Both teams haven't got a single point yet, but Order's round difference is absolutely shocking. They've lost 7-2 both of their games so far, and that's coming from a team that's made playoffs both in Stage 1 and Stage 2. So definitely they're going to be hungry for a win tonight. And hey, Vas, I don't know, maybe this is one you could touch on, but Overt, I mean, it's kind of surprising to see such a fresh name already in that top 4. What do you think of them so far?
Yeah, I'm really impressed with their run so far. I really kind of like their approach coming into OCN. I don't think anyone expected them to come in with, so much confidence, and there's a lot of really big teams that can be quite intimidating for a new team coming in here, but they seem like they're really handling the pressure, staying composed, and they're playing with confidence.
One thing's for sure, they'll be tested once again tonight with a bit of pressure. Speaking of tonight, let's have a look at the matches. It'll be Overt taking on Order in that second matchup. The first is just so juicy, like a nice Sunday night roast, Dev, because Wildcard and Knights, you know, it's such a strange thing in OCN. We really don't know what nights we're ever going to see, but one thing's for sure, Wildcard are looking up and up.
Yeah, look, absolutely. It's been a real surprise for Wildcard to see them rejuvenated. They're kind of a team that's a little bit all over the place, and hopefully this is another chance for them to prove themselves. Knights, on the contrary, have had some disappointing results, in particular their previous game. 7-1 loss to Chiefs. Quite the embarrassment. They're looking for redemption, but hey, we have no shortage of games further on down the line. I mean, just have a look at the match that I'm sure, Vast, you're going to be very excited for, the rematch of your final ever comp game, Chiefs versus Bliss. You guys took Bliss down in the grand final of Stage 2, and I'm sure that Bliss is going to be ready to get some revenge in Stage 3.
Yeah, they definitely will be wanting some revenge. I don't think Bliss have ever beaten Chiefs. I think that Chiefs has been the one team that they've kind of, I wouldn't say struggled with, but maybe has thrown them off a bit. Maybe it's, you know, something to do with the play styles clashing. Maybe there's something in particular Chiefs do that other teams don't do that, you know, make Bliss really uncomfortable. So I think, yeah,
you wouldn't want to reveal the secrets though, like that's what you're saying.
I wouldn't want to reveal the secrets. I'd have Digital and Fisher Guy in my DMs. I think they were, I don't know, not annoyed, but I did get a few DMs maybe revealing a bit too much in in the game yesterday. I won't say what I said, but yeah, I'm going to be a bit careful with what I say now.
I'm disappointed in the boys. They need to be on the firing line because that's exactly what they are. They've got a big target on their back after that big dub in Stage 2. And speaking of Stage 2, the end of it, of course, as Dev has already alluded to, was that matchup between Bliss and Chiefs. And guess what? That is going to be our match of the night. It's a new segment that or match of the day, I probably should say. It's a new segment that we are kind of bringing into the broadcast. Wonderful M-Wave giving away a $50 voucher. To be involved, you really just need to stick around for that matchup. It will be the third of the night. So, you know, we'll explain a little bit later about how you kind of get involved there. But Dev, $50 dudes, that's not bad for a freebie, is it?
Surely, and yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can buy M-Wave, and yeah, you're gonna have to be in the twitch.tv/Rainbow6ANZ chat to participate in that giveaway. We're gonna run it through Nightbot. We'll let you know the details at the time during that match, so make sure you stick around, make sure you're in for that, and you could, like you said, earn some free gear. I'm pretty happy to just let you host for tonight. I'll be completely honest with you. It seems I was
like
enjoying it last night, I will say.
You're in a mood. I can feel the vibes on you. But let's have a look at the predictions, because the predictions is where things fall apart for all of us here on the desk. We'll see where Vast stands after his first week. He's absolutely soaring. Vast, what on earth? Do you just have a big head? What's going on here?
Look, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Mandy's kind of, someone's leaking my my predictions. I think Mandy's got a hold of them. But yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't want to, you know, fly my own boat, but you know, it's just an intuition thing, you know. I just kind of have these feelings, these kind of visions. Yeah, I'm having an incredible run.
How'd your predictions go last night, mate? Very quickly, I think they were pretty piss poor, don't you think?
Well, I mean, yeah. Look, I don't know what happened last night. It's APAC South. It's APAC South. I don't know.
No, that's fair. That's fair. APAC South is much harder to predict. It's been proven as a fact. 50%, I think, was the standard rate that we had in Stage 1. But Dev, I mean, are you even going to try to defend yourself here? 4-4 is pretty bloody terrible.
Yeah, look, I think I'm very much squarely at the bottom. I think I might have taken Raven's Curse that he had in APAC South Stage 2. But hey, I'm just enjoying it, you know? I'm you know, taking it cruisy. I think I go for quite a few upsets. I like to have hope for the underdogs. And yeah, we'll just see. Maybe my luck will turn.
Well, let's hope it does now, because we're going to be getting into our first matchup of the night. It's going to be Knights, in fact, taking on Wildcard. And certainly, I think it's almost in the name at this point, Vast. Wildcard just seem to... It's so hard to know what they're going to be able to do in 2021.
It really is. You know, they kind of, you know, Stage 1, there was the excuse that, you know, they were playing with the coach, fair enough. And Stage 2, it was like, the excuse was growing pains. And Stage 3, you know, there was no more kind of excuses we could give them, but they seemed to, like, actually start maybe clicking.
Maybe.
It's so hard, right? Like, I mean, they have some pretty astounding, significant wins. Like, they beat Order and OCN 7-2 on Chile last week. It was their first time ever playing Chile. They stomped Order. Just last night in APAC South, they beat Chiefs as well on the rematch on Bank. Vast, I'm just interested to hear kind of your take. Like, this roster, right, in theory, should be unbelievably star-studded, right? You look at this, you've got guys like Vinny, Milo, Gio, Emo, and Pat as a support, but all of these guys are kind of known to be real fraggers. So, like, why is it that they've got all the ingredients, but they can't cook up the recipe?
It's kind of hard to say, like, you know, obviously they would have a better idea. Yeah, I think
watching us. Vinny's watching us. Vinny's
Oh my
watching
God,
us.
I
Sorry,
can see
Vast.
You're not
Sorry,
going to win
Vast.
games if
Vinny's
you're watching
watching
the stream.
Sorry, Vast. Continue.
Yeah, that's a bit naughty, but I mean, I can't talk, but I used to do it. But no, I just think, you know, they are stepping in the right direction. I think, you know, bringing in the coaches help them, but you know, what was your question, Dev? Like, Matic just made me just. What are you doing to me, man? Are you trying to jeopidize?
I'm just completely. I've railed you.
At this point, I'm
like-
just mesmerized by old mate Vinny here staring into my soul. Like, man, hey, I mean, I guess I'm curious to know, is like, am I going crazy when I say that this roster seems like it should be doing really well? So, like, why aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it could be honestly just small things. It could be maybe play style. To be honest, I think it might not seem like a big deal, but I think small role changes. We saw Milo this stage. He's been more of an aggressive role playing that Zofia, and I've actually been really impressed with it. The way he was entering last night against Chiefs, like really quick, aggressive. He was clearly pushing off of, you know, Wildcard's really good pre-placed drones. So I really like that small change, having Gio back on that more vert role. And, you know, with last stage, I noticed that they swapped roles quite a bit. You'd see Gio play, you know, Sledge on one map, and then he'd go to, you know, an entry on the other map. And I just think it wasn't really building consistency, whereas now I'm seeing a bit more consistency with their roles. And yeah, I just think maybe that could be one of the factors that's helped them improve, but it could be, you know, a long list of just small changes that they've been working on.
Consistency, just seems to riddle everybody team in OCN that is playing in APAC South. I don't know what's going on there, but we will have a look at Knights, who, to be completely fair with you, Dev, I just feel like there's so much more that they can give us in OCN.
Yeah, look, it certainly does feel that way. And hey, after they unfortunately learned that they could not make it to that Mexico major, they really did give the Stage 2 playoffs their all. They made a pretty significant gauntlet run until facing Chiefs, who eventually dealt with them before winning the grand final. But hey, I mean, Knights, they're such a peculiar case, aren't they? They're clearly one of, if not the best team in APAC South, and yet they've had some pretty significant losses in APAC South and in OCN. Like, they're just really struggling. Like, you know, number 1 APAC South in Stage 2, number 3 overall in APAC, which was the best that they could get after their second seed from the normal regular season. And yet, sometimes they just fall short. It's so hard to pick. Like, honestly, you could ask me, like, is Knights the best team in APAC? And I could say, like, yeah, I could make a solid argument for why they're the best in the whole damn region. And at the same time, I could say that they're a team that really is quite far from that, especially their performances here in OCN. It's such a difficult, I guess, riddle to unpack.
Bit of you could probably say they're stone cold killers, couldn't you, Vast? But the problem is, they seem to be more stone cold than they do killers here.
I just want to quickly point out before, as we go back to us, that, you know, they look a bit more prepared tonight. I don't know what drink Juicy had on stand. It would look like blue Gatorade or something. I don't know. It was like 2 liters. Hayward's eating an apple. So I don't know. Maybe tonight, you know, they're like, all right, that's it. We've kind of had enough. We need to start, you know, turning on the jets a little bit for OCN. But I mean, look, I think we've all known, we've all seen that they do put more effort into APAC South, whether that's in prep or just like, you know, a mental thing as well. Seems like more so on their preparation. I do think tonight is an important game for OCN. Knights and Wildcard are tied on points. I think that whoever wins this, it will be a good way for them to kind of, jump up with, the rest of the kind of top half of the ladder.
Which, to be fair, is much needed for both of these teams, and we may well see it. Who knows? But one thing we are certainly going to see is the game played on a map in which we need to go to the veto for. Dev, I'll come to you first. We head to Boruk, and back we go. A staple for pretty much any host team.
Yeah, look, I would say normally a staple. Not a staple for Wildcard, though. It's actually their second most banned map in 2021. As a whole, it's actually the third most banned for Knights as well. So not a map that we would usually see either of these teams play. That said, Knights have their fair share of victories on this. They unfortunately did lose the map just last night to Invictus in a seriously entertaining game in APAC South. But last week in OCN, beat Overt. As for Wildcard, you're looking at only 2 results. All 2021 was a loss to Elevate in APAC South and a loss to Knights in APAC South. So we're actually going to have a rematch of that Stage 2 APAC South game that Knights won 8-7. Potentially setting up for a tight one, but it's hard to say because just like on paper as a general rule, this is way more favourite a Knights map than it is a Wildcard one.
Vas, give me your juicy thoughts. I know they're there. Tell me, what are we thinking?
Would you believe me, Manik?
No, you know I won't.
If I told you that I didn't predict Oregon. To be honest, I thought Wildcard would ban Oregon. I mean, I don't know. It could be the same thing with Chiefs. I think Vinny kind of touched on it in his interview talking about why they decided to bank against Chiefs for the second time. And maybe they were able to kind of watch the VOD back last night and look for some tendencies and habits that maybe they can abuse. I thought that Wildcard I thought they were a good CAF team, so I thought maybe it would go to CAF. But, in the off-season, maybe their map pool has changed slightly. Maybe as they have changed roles, worked on a few mistakes, maybe, we have seen a bit of a change in their map pool. So maybe they are a decent Oregon team. We don't really know. I haven't seen Wildcard play much Oregon except maybe the rhythm game kind of comes to mind. And back then in that game they didn't really look convincing or dominant on that map. So I can't really predict anything, to be honest.
Well, I was going to get you to give me your damn prediction, but I guess that's not possible. Just give it quick. Give us a
I
quick
can still
one.
give you a prediction. I was just hoping that Oregon was not the map we were going to. I predict Wildcard winning this game. I think that right now they're kind of riding, a wave of momentum. Looking at the maps, I'd say Oregon does. I do agree with Dev. Oregon does favor Knights. They may have looked a bit shaky last night against IG, but I still think that they were playing like good Siege. It was just the really small mistakes, and I think last night, doesn't reflect their Oregon so well. So but at the end of the day, I still predict Wildcard to win this game.
Dev?
It's a feeling.
Oh, it's a feeling. Well, geez, go and bet the house on it. That sounds about right, Dev.
Yeah, look, I think Knights is by far the better team here, but I think that Wildcard's going to win it. That's kind of the nature of how it is sometimes. Like, you get that feeling, right? Wildcard beat Chiefs, arguably the best team in OCN last night, quite convincingly as well.
Yeah.
So Wildcards is one of those coin flip teams, and look, I'm just going to be an optimist for them and say that they've got it in the bag.
Well, who knows? This might be the way to kickstart it. Vas, thank you once again for giving us your thoughts on the desk. It's always a pleasure to have you involved. But it is time to get underway here, Dev, with our first matchup of Playday 3. It's Wildcard, it's Knights, 2 teams that have been riddled with some interesting results, to say the very least, in OCN, but it's their opportunity to really have a crack in Stage 3, and it might just start here.
Oregon is the battleground. Wildcard and Knights, yes, it is another game between these 2 teams, staples of the Oceanic region. As we dig into OCN, Playday number 3, get into the macros op ban phase. You can see here most banned operators in, I believe this is specifically for Oregon, all of OCN. Wow, okay, I like that from Wildcard, getting rid of the Monty. Look at the reaction from Dino there. You remember, right, how just unbelievably untenable Juicy was on that Montaigne against Overt, completely picked apart the defense. I do not blame Wildcard at all for banning that one out.
No, nice early pick off as well. Jackal to go along with it, which apparently is not a familiar ban to the attacking side. However, it's pretty stock standard for a Mirror to go. I really do miss seeing, well, I mean, not that I've ever really seen Mirror play too much in comp play, but it is always nice to see her slip through. And the final ban coming out, Valkyrie.
Right.
Another one that kind of just adds to the list of, we just barely see them on these maps.
Yeah, and look, the thing here is that we're seeing Thatcher slip through. Now, Wildcard just love their Thatcher bans. It's almost half of the games they've played this year. They've banned out Thatcher.
Yep.
Valkyrie is also a staple favorite of theirs. So kind of in general, like, if nothing is going super crazy, it's usually a Thatcher Valk ban from WC. And so we're seeing the Valkyrie slip through, but they really wanted to use that ban on just getting rid of the Monty so they don't have to face Juicy on that. And that kind of left the power with Knights here on whether they want to ban the Thatcher. And while they still do ban it, it's still their most banned attacker. It's usually banned against them. They usually like to use their bans to flex around for something else. That's what they've done here. They want to lead into this roam, getting rid of the Jackal. And I think that's the right choice. I do feel like Knights are holding most of the power here in this op veto. But we'll see as we dig into the game whether that bears any fruit.
Starting off in probably the most common side ever. We are going down to the basement for Wildcard to defend. And, well, they might have to defend what the community have kind of gone against them on, to be fair. I guess they're not defending, they're rather attacking the community. 55% in the HP Omen community vote there, Dev. I do feel like that is probably warranted. Although there's just something about Wildcard that I'm terrified about right now.
Yeah, look, it's like I was saying on the pre-match, I do think that Knights is the better team, and not by a little bit, but by a lot. But I also think that Wildcard are dangerous at the moment. The way that they dealt with Chiefs in their match yesterday in APAC South was definitely quite intimidating. And look, if Knights don't have that Monty to utilize, and if Wildcard can kind of force this to be a bit more of a staple game, I think this is a really good sign for them. I'm just going to quickly touch on for a moment the fact that I mentioned Wildcard didn't use their ban on Thatcher, which eventually left it through the veto. Knights aren't going to play it, and we've seen this from Knights in the past. Even when Thatcher goes unbanned, they prefer to just kind of stick with their normal setup. You know, you bring the Maverick instead. It gives you an extra set of nades, and it does mean that you have to burn through ADSs and magnets instead of deactivating them. But hey, I mean, if that's something that they think they're good at, then go for it.
For all intents and purposes, Knights haven't really put any attention across toward blue just yet, and we did see Wildcard extending with Pat holding on the elbow. Dare say there'd be a fair bit of attention there if they need to, but here's the thing, right? Knights are taking some pretty decent control. They're going to be able to get those hatches early on, and the fact that Wildcard aren't playing into the roam just allows them to do so with little to no pressure. So Knights will have everything that they really want in terms of that top floor control, but it's where they go from there that the big questions start to get asked.
Yeah, honestly, really, really good efficiency here for Knights. They just took the whole map and started opening up the hatches within about a minute and 10 seconds. And it just means that so much map control. Like, you look at it, Wildcard haven't even contested Freezer here. They're going to forfeit that map control as well. The hatches are all open, electrical hatch as well as the freezer hatch, the lobby hatch. Like, Knights just have so much mobility here. They could go for a blue take, like you mentioned, but I think a front take is on the cards here. It's going to be difficult to try and backstab a player like Hayward, for example, because of this Ella playing on the rear stairs. Emo could do a heck of a lot of damage, and Hayward might actually have to abandon this.
Knights are spread quite thinly at the moment, but obviously that's the intended purpose. Poke from every different angle and see what you can get. Freezer and...
Oh my god.
My word, Laundry is going to be the vocal point here for Knights to start things out. Sage has just kick-started this game with a three-piece, and Hayward trying to find another. Emo tidies things up. Wildcard holding on, but it's going to be Knights that steam away with round number 1. Great statement.
3 for Sage, 2 for Juicy. Very, very effective push there for Knights. Like we said, map control without too much trouble whatsoever. Force Wildcard back, and then it was just a matter of picks. I didn't see necessarily a lot of, say, nades or util usage. they would have had a lot. They would have had a lot of ability to flush out these players and really make that a difficult site to play on. But end of the day, I think that Sage was kind of just holding the angles. Wildcard trying to contest. I think maybe they knew that they were at a deficit and felt like they had to pick. Sage punished it really hot in this shot. And Knights just strung up Wildcard quite easily.
I guess that's what happens when you give Knights a little bit too much respect sometimes. You know, we didn't really see Wildcard go to force them into any uncomfortable circumstances within that first minute. Knights pretty much had the pick of the lot on that first floor. And from there, they really had a good idea of what they were trying to achieve. And I guess that's a very scary prospect with a team that can do damage on a dying. And now Wildcard have moved away from the basement up into dorms is now where their focus will be. I'd love to see any extensions, but it doesn't look like we're going to see too many cheeky beaky plays. Be a bit of a roam downstairs and a hold in security and kitchen.
Yep, pretty default hold for Wildcard. Pretty staple, pretty normal. A lot of shields. The Goyo, it's always nice. Like that aggressive Syria gate on the master door just makes it a little bit more difficult for Knights to get their drones and flashes and util on through. And of course, entering. Looks like it is a Master and Armory take, though, for Knights. They've got their hard breach over on this side. Ooh, nice pre-nade from Josh, but gets caught by the ADS. Bit of wasted utility there, as that ADS is just going to reset. But Knights shouldn't be too unhappy. They have a lot of nades, a lot of util. The 6 all up in total. But only 4 left now, as Josh has used both of his so far. Dino's also used all of his flashbangs, so we are seeing the setup from Wildcard starting to drain a lot of util. And in particular, clearing out these shields is going to be difficult. You've got ADSs and the Aruni gates, so it's a lot to burn through.
Certainly is. Very interesting that Knights have gone to do that so early with no one really in a position to capitalize on it. Dino now might be trying to push the support of Sage. In the bedroom, take a little bit of control, try and force back anyone playing in Trophy right now. Bit of a stalemate. Vinny can just hold in kitchen. There's really no need for him to try to make any outlandish plays. Geo now being spotted. The information from Haywood being gained, but Emo opens things up. And Geo, well, they haven't been able to capitalize on this. Haywood's trying to find something, Dev, but they're not really having a lot of success here, Knights.
Yeah, it's kind of 2 prongs to this approach for Knights. One is the 2 guys downstairs trying to push out this roam below. And the other prong is the Armory Master push. And, well, we do finally have a trade back of that early kill on the Master side as we see Knights start to march on forward. Wildcard go back and forfeit that control below the bomb site. But this aggressive open hold here in Trophy is still quite a dangerous headache for Knights to deal with.
Vinny's position now well and truly known. You're generally going to expect someone to, at the very least, try and flank if you know they're playing towards security and can cross into the freezer stairs and come back up the other side. Emorin doesn't miss those ones. He might even find a second, but Josh dismisses. Falls back for now. 30 seconds. Knights need to get a little bit of a move on here. They're starting to take more control, and that's just what we need to see. A big pick from Juicy.
Refrag? No! Juicy just barely gets that one and finishes it off as well. Knights, it looked like they might have been on the back foot, but some really strong gun skill in those dying moments and working off each other perfectly. It's Wildcard down for a second round. Really strong attacks so far, and things are starting to heat up.
Honestly, I just kind of expected with how much utility Knights had used so early on. You know, all the flashes, 2 nades, the fact that Haywood had used pretty much all of the charges just to try and flush Geo out. I genuinely thought Wildcard were in prime position, but I guess, I mean, can you really accommodate for Juicy when he does juicy things? That's...
Well, you ban the Monty and he's like, hey, I actually get to play with a gun now. That's sick. I'm just going to go and shoot everyone. What's he on, like 5 kills so far? 3, 4 or 5. There you go, 5. So he had a 2K in the first round, 3K in the second round. That's 2 huge multi-kills back-to-back from Knights players. And I guess you mentioned the util, right? The fact that Wildcard had caught out a lot of Knights' util in that early round with the setup. But the thing is, like, Wildcard are playing an open hold. You've got a lot of lines of sight on walls that often you would reinforce. For example, the attic to trophy. For example, the games room to the master closet wall. And what that means, right, is it's just much easier for Knights to find gunfights. You can start contesting those holes. Wildcard were trying to play aggressively. And unfortunately, if Knights are ready and actually win some of those ones through those aggressive angles, that setup plays against Wildcard.
I find, like, you know, those plays work incredibly well. There's no doubt about it, but I find it works, you know, a lot better when you are bunkering down and you are keeping all 5 players alive on the defense here. Now, Haywood will pretty much go undetected for a small while, but eventually, position known, nothing to really report, I guess. This is just the poking and the prodding. Like this from Pat on the sharp line with a shotgun. Oh, wow. What an interesting start. Geo falls. So does Sage, but at the very least, he will be able to be recovered.
I think that was some aggression on the main... Oh, no, it's on the freezer stairs, yep.
Yeah.
And it was a direct trade, so Sage was downed by Geo as Sage killed him. Geo won't necessarily know that he got the down. He might, if he was really astute watching the body fall as he died, he might have noticed. But of course, no kill cams in competitive play and no points for injures. No points at all in competitive play, but even these days on the live build, when you're just playing casual and ranked, you don't even get points, the point notification when you get an injury anymore. It's a great bit of flank watch there from Juicy, though, punishing Milo. Not quite the read he needed.
See, this is really scary from Knights. I mean, from what I'm looking at, they're not doing anything stupidly complicated, but they're just punishing Wildcard. Now, this is the problem. Whenever Knights turn up to play and play to their capacity, boy, is it terrifying. A flawless round. Knights here to make a statement in Playday 3.
Wow, what a start for the Knights. Every single kill there was Wildcard trying to make a play, trying to get aggressive. Knights reading into it perfectly, constantly prepared. They will be very, very satisfied with this rolling start. 3 rounds on the trot, on their attack no less, and they still have more depth in the strat book. Now they're showing the Flores for the first time, hinting they might even go for a blue take. That could be a 6-pick. Knights are just completely in control. They hold all the cards right now, and they're deciding what the trumps are.
The most comfortable of positions for Wildcard to be in. 3-0 down on your defensive Oregon, mind you. And it kind of just goes from bad to worse here, right? If they can't string a round or 2 together, Knights are going to be moving across the defensive side with pretty much everything that they could want. At the very least, you'd expect 2 successful defenses down in basement out of 6 rounds, but that's just, you can't do that now as Wildcard. You don't have that opportunity to go back down even if you do win.
Yeah, it does mean that they're going to have to demonstrate some more depth here. Wildcard, like, obviously they need to win a laundry at some point. It's their 3rd attempt. But like you said, even if they win it now, right, they need to show some strength on other bomb sites as well. The best Wildcard can hope for is a 3-3 half, which on a good day is pretty average for Oregon defense anyway. I would say that's kind of par maybe, but Wildcard would definitely be disappointed with a 4-2 against them. And honestly, at this rate, a 4-2 would be a generous expectation for Wildcard. I think 5-1 perhaps more likely.
All roads lead to that kind of an outcome with the way that we've seen Knights kickstart now. Oh my God, it's just like, this is outrageous. 3 players on Wildcard on the donut headed into the 4th round. This is just not the Wildcard we'd hoped would turn up. We were talking about inconsistencies in rosters. Well, right now you're seeing exactly that. Geo, does he get away? He was a player in security. I believe that's Juicy, but he's not going to continue to push.
Might refrag Gemini here. Oh no, it doesn't even refrag it. Geo caught sleeping. I mean, he read that that was a Gemini, not a real person, but then he didn't even successfully shoot it. I don't know, like, was there a lack of conviction there? really bewildered at the
hipfire,
wild card
right?
we're seeing right now, man.
Yeah, yeah. And what's crazy is we saw this exact same start from Knights last night, right? It was, they came out of the gates absolutely swinging. 3-0, referring to APAC South here. They came out of the gates and really impressed us to kickstart things. And then, I mean, Invictus are Invictus, right? They really put on a show in the past couple of rounds before we kind of close things out. So it is possible for Wildcard here, but certainly not with the way they're starting here in round number 4. So it literally is just getting so much worse. I think Emo's just been given a freebie there, maybe a second as well. Don't give Emo a chance. He will take every opportunity given to him.
Oh my god, 1v5, and he's found the 3K. How many more can he get? The pistol, it's a headshot machine, but incredibly low damage, especially with this suppressor on. Oh my god! 1v5 down to a 1v1.
Just gives you shivers thinking about it. Emo Rin rotating back around. Josh just trying to bait this out. Might be perfect timing, my god. Game of cat and mouse at the moment. Emo Rin with the patience. This is going to force Juice into a really uncomfortable position if he does not get a move on, if he does not start to force Emo Rin out into the open. Oh my god! No way! Emo Rin, take a bow.
Holy shit, what was that? 1v5, and that's the only round Wildcard have. That is it. I mean, that's 4 rounds in a row that Knights have made just look so cheesy easy. And then Wildcard starts here. Makes it a 1v4. Second one to follow. And from that point forward, it was the emo show. Josh, I mean, he played it as well as he could, but there was just no hope in winning that fight. The ace is locked in.
Oh, gnarly work from a gnarly player. Emo Rin for this roster for longer than I will ever care to remember. This man has been doing these things to teams that, quite literally, it's not family friendly. I don't think we're allowed to show that kind of stuff on stream. And now Knights have kind of gifted Wildcard around there, and there's no doubt about it, right? It was just one after another, right into Emo Rin's, just his open arms.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely could have been played better by Knights. You can't be too upset with the last guy. I think Josh, a 1v1 is a 1v1, right? Like, I think that probably favored Emo, but yeah, there were definitely a lot of moments that round that it could have been a simple fix. I think Knights got a little bit excited there on the back of it. Just everything. This game has been Knights every step of the way until that moment. And what I want to know is, like, does this turn things around for Wildcard? You've got 3 players on the team on donuts. Gio with the breadstick. Emo Rin on 8 kills, 5 of them from that ace round.
Incredibly gnarly. Now, I guess this is the resilience that we need to be seeing from Knights. How are they going to bounce back after this one? So important that they don't allow Wildcard back into this game, that they don't allow them an inch. But for all intents and purposes, I mean, Wildcard could take that inch. You don't even have to give it to them. They are a team that can do this, and just because they haven't started out in the greatest and most convincing fashion doesn't mean it's going to stay that way.
Nice usage of the Rotero from Flores.
Flores?
They put a bit of an accent on it there. I certainly don't want to make any claims that I know the correct pronunciation. But yeah, good usage of the drone. That's what I can comment on. And Knights are starting to pick apart this. Once again, very aggressive setup from Wildcard. Just look at the angle here from Milo all the way back in pit, looking onto the balcony. But the ACOGs, those magnified scopes that the Knights players are going to have, certainly would be favoring these gunfights.
Doing a good job so far at pushing Wildcard back to site, but now it's about how they execute onto this. Really, how do they displace these members? That's going to be a dirty nade. It just Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. Knights are not taking any chances whatsoever here.
But Emo's found the first. And if there's anything we've learned, it's that you cannot count out Emo. Doesn't matter the scoreline, doesn't matter the opposition. Emo has certainly got a shot. Vinny's going to have to come up big on the flank with Milo going down, but Knights have no clue. Josh doesn't manage to win that. Emo's down. So the pressure is mounting.
What is going on?
What is bloody happening right now?
It is literally the game of trades, but Wildcard closed things out in the last 2 kills. This game is, I don't even know, but Wildcard are back in this. Wildcard are raring to go.
Yeah, I mean, from what I was saying is this could well be a 6-0, 5-1 half for Knights with the way that those first 3 rounds panned out. Wildcard looking lost, and now they've won a 1v5 from Emo, and then that absolute monstrous mess we just witnessed on Dorms, which, bit of a trade fest. Honestly, I don't know how some of these kills came through for both sides. Hey, sure. Reset the score, say it's 0-0 right now. Wildcard has woken up. Took them 3 rounds to do so, but now, honestly, I wouldn't put it past them. They could definitely make this an even half and redeem themselves for a shocking start.
Again, not to, you know, bring up old wounds, but really, this is what we saw last night, okay? Please, I beg of you, Knights, do not go down this same path. I'm just going to check back and make sure. I am talking about the right game, aren't I?
Yeah, Knights and Invictus went so well right at the start. The Knights, like, they looked to completely control them. And Invictus absolutely fought back. We're starting to see that pattern as well here from Wildcard. And I will say, like, I mean, I hate to throw shade, like, Wildcard aren't playing the most amazing Siege we've ever seen. I think that's, you know, a political way to put it. But it's working, and if it works, it works, you know? At the end of the day, you do what you got to do to win the round. And with the way that I think Knights, I hate to use this word because it implies something that I don't necessarily want to imply, and I'm not going to tell you I know what Knights are thinking, but like, it looks like after the 3-0 lead, Knights got a little complacent. They stopped respecting Wildcard a little bit. Like, you look at that 1v5 from Emo, that was kind of enabled because Knights didn't give him the respect that he perhaps deserved.
Yeah.
And, oh, that wall bang, that would have been very, very fortunate. I don't think there was info there. That was just a good read there from, I believe, Milo in Attic. Little things like that is certainly going to make, well, Knights second guess themselves.
Oh, God. Anything you can do, I can definitely do better. Was that Dino through the wall with no information as well? It's all just pre-fire. It's game of pre-fires. Jiho is shut down by Josh. Like, this is one of the most... this is the hardest game I think I've ever cast because I just don't know what's going to happen on any given second.
Yeah, look, I don't blame you whatsoever. This game is certainly something. Pat, how is he there? Like, what?
What is going on?
He just managed to flank upstairs again. Knights, where are your flank watch drones, man? I mean, they've lost most of their drones. Only 4 left. Wildcard must have known that they've shot so many drones. They're trying to play into it. Well played for Pat, but it does get traded. So 2-on-2 now could swing either way. There's a whole minute to work with. Emo's got 2 Yokais on the table, though. And he could do a lot with them. Essentially, Wildcard have more info than Knights.
Benny now wrapping back to more of a favourable position to support his teammate. But this is now a huge problem for Emo. He is well and truly stuck here, Dev.
What can he do but find that kill? Surely the trade comes through. No! Emo! What can he not do? This man has just made this winnable. That's the half. 3-3. Well, that was quite something. Knights came out of the gates 3 rounds in a row, one of which was flawless. Wildcard could barely find a kill. And then Imorin 1v5 aced. And then Wildcard made it 3-3. This game is something else.
Look, I mean, there's only one thing I can say, and that is if you want to be as sharp as Imorin, there's only one feasible way in which you could ever possibly be that good. And that's by grabbing an NVMe SSD from Samsung. There is no possible other way you could 1v5 a team like Knights without one of these gorgeous SSDs. If you'd like to find out more, all you need to do, go ahead and type exclamation mark SSD in the chat. Find out more. But let's get into it, because this is juicy. And I'm not talking about the Knights.
Absolutely. I mean, that plug was just about as sexy as that ace from Imorin. And hey, I'm all about it. I'm so ready to see if Wildcard can bring this momentum into their attack half. We already prefaced that defense probably would swing to a little bit of favor here. And par for the course is 3 rounds. Wildcard pretty happy with that one. Let's see if Knights can do the same.
Still just absolutely baffles me that Pat's on 1 kill, Milo's on 0, and it's still 3-3.
I mean, Emo's got 12 kills.
Yeah, I know. But like, what?
Yeah, it is very cooked. It's the word of the week, the word of the day, the word of the night. This is just absolutely bonkers.
Still trying to stay family friendly on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a dictionary next to me. I'm flicking through the pages and I'm in the safe for work section, and there's not always vocab there that can describe what I'm watching.
No. Not the friendly kind anyway, but this is very calm from Knights right now. Unflinching from Haywood as he moves back into security. And he can stay there for as long as he needs to. He's got support from Juicy on white stairs. He's got support from his teammate down in Freezer. This is a very bunkered position right now.
Yeah, and that pre-placed C4 we saw from Haywood does go to the double window. That jump in. So if anyone does vault in, for example, Emo here, then he would get a warm welcome. At the moment, oh, actually, Emo's downstairs.
Baited.
He's down in showers. He's the one trying to catch out these roamers downstairs. It doesn't look like anyone's in position to jump in that window and be vulnerable to that C4, as Wildcard's going primarily for a master side push. I didn't quite see how the X-Kairos was destroyed, but somehow was not detonated on that master balcony yet. It does mean that Wildcard lacking somewhat in holes with which to puncture the site. That's a nice angle for Dino. And the first blood is drawn.
That it is. And with 30 seconds left, oh my word, Knights now putting it to Wildcard. Haywood's now giving himself the positioning that maybe, just maybe, Imorin might be able to capitalize on. Don't forget, 15 seconds left as he tries to flank in behind Imorin coming up white stairs. He's got so much work to do. Is Pat going to be able to stick this? Gio's going to be able to watch him from the double window. Oh, Pat's going to be able to hold this, and now it turns into a 2 versus 3. Haywood gets taken down. Pat tries his best, and now Gio, he has to play this from the window. Both players looking to stick the defuse, but well retaken from Josh and Sage.
Indeed, an excellent retake from the Knights boys. They had man advantage, but they made sure that they didn't let that slip. Wildcard had pretty strong positions. Excellently played in the 2v1 as well. As soon as they knew where Pat was coming from after that pre-fire was through, it was a flurry of bullets. And Knights do take the lead once again. They didn't lose it for very long, but most importantly, Rob, the momentum has been retaken. It's not a choke. It was looking pretty grim there for a moment, but Knights have shown that, look, this is going to be a tight contest.
Could become one for the ages, you know? One of those games that just goes back and forth now that Wildcard have found themselves some momentum, and kind of settled themselves in the game.
Locate and defuse bombs.
Obviously, that is a huge, huge round for Knights to take to disrupt that. As you mentioned, the order of the way Wildcard were moving forward, it was menacing. It really is menacing, you know? You get 4 rounds straight, then you start to think, why not 5? Why not 6? Why not just not let Knights back into this game? But now we have a game on our hands. Very curious to see how Wildcard approach. Obviously, Knights had quite a heavy emphasis on their freezer and laundry take previous round, so Wildcard's different.
5 seconds to insertion.
Very interested in, I mean, I hate to rely too much on stats. I hate to throw players under the bus, but I mean, if you look at the scoreboard, you look at the players' kills and deaths at the moment, like it is pretty clear that there are some really unusual stats. Like the last game that we saw Wildcard play, Milo went 10-5, 2.0 KD, just running rampant, 100% cost as well. He used every single round he either got a kill, did an objective, survived the round, or was traded when he dies. And now he's on 0-7, and my God, he's having a roughie. You just need to bounce back from things like that. Like, I know it's so tough, but my God, this has been a very strange match. And I have no doubt that while the primary focus is to win rounds, I know that Milo will be much more satisfied with his own performance once he can find a frag or two.
I guess if there's one player that you know has the potential to then, you know, kind of move off the back of that, as you're saying, Dev, it is Vinny, it is Milo. So you really, you know, as much as it sucks that they haven't had the impact yet, there is still that ability for them to have that impact. And that could be the game changer. That could be the entire flip of this game. Maybe Wildcard start to run away with it, but we are going to start to ask bigger questions of those two members. Geo falls down at the minute 40 mark, and it's Wildcard in the deficit.
Always nice seeing the Thunderbird make her appearance, but it's not only the Thunderbird where the action is going down. Vinny and Hayward, a direct trade. Not a terrible result here for either team. I think the main concern here is just that Wildcard are a man down, but yeah, what is this? Emo better drone. Oh, no, he hasn't droned it. Oh, no, Emo, you can't miss-drone that, my dude. Oh, I really, really hope that one of those Wildcard... No, Milo's a dead man.
Oh, no, that is going to be so tilting.
0-8, he's going to be. There you go.
Oh, he got one!
Oh, he got it! Bless you, Milo. Oh, my God.
No.
Everyone pays for Emo's mistake. And the Knights stretch their lead to 2 rounds.
The worst part is you know what the conversation is going to be like in the team chat right now.
Yeah.
It's going to go something along the lines of, who happened to drone rear stage? I'm not angry, I just want to know.
Well, you know, Emo would have been like, you check T1, he's like, okay, tier 1 is clear, like, all right, you're good. And Milo's like, okay, great, I'm going to go play rear stairs. He's watching rear stairs, like, yeah, I got a kill, let's go. And he's probably halfway through calling that kill when he dies, and I would love to hear the comments, because I bet you the call was like,
oh gosh darn it. oh gosh darn it. I am upset. I am a little bit angry.
I am disappointed. That was an unfortunate moment.
I could
not to blame anyone, but
I could hear Milo saying that, you know, oh, that's a real bother. It would have been better if that didn't happen. Bother. Oh God, I know they're gonna watch that VOD back and they're just gonna look at that moment and it's just it's just gonna go silent. Oh, you have to. What else? Like, how are you gonna get angry at that? Like, it's just. Yeah. Why would you ever expect him to be in that position as well?
Look, I'm a firm believer that self-deprecation is the first step towards self-improvement. So if you can have a laugh at yourself when you make a really shocking mistake like that, then, I mean, sure. And hey, can you really have too much of a roast of Emo when he is literally the only reason they won that first round?
I guess. Out of everyone, out of every single person you could have a go at,
he has the license to make a little mistake like that.
100%. You love it. You do love to see it, and we love to keep high hopes and high spirits, and I guess Wildcard have to at this point. It's certainly going to be frustrating what's just kind of what's happened, but it's much, much easier to move on than to dwell. And the problem is, Knights one away from that point, one away from securing at least the 1 point, in which, you know, Wildcard, I think we got to talk about it. This is a very serious season for them. They are kind of, in a way, facing relegations at this point in time. We still have another 4 or 5 games left to play, and it's possible. So this is really quite serious about the fact that we need Wildcard taking every point that they can really be willing to grab.
Absolutely. Imagine Wildcard themselves relegated not only necessarily from APAC South, but from OCN. That would be dire, and it is a real possibility. Looks like Overt is locked in for one of those relegation spots, but the other likely to be either Wildcard or Rhythm. Wildcard need every point they can get.
Milo starting to extend, but Sage swings. Geo goes down. At least there's a trade, and who else but Emo Rin? Honestly, I feel like a broken record at this point saying his name.
And now he's dead. Juicy takes him down at bot white. Nice shot from Milo, clearing out Pit. Numbers advantage for Wildcard. Really strong vertical position now taken by Milo, as well as a strong horizontal position. In from meeting, now in kitchen for Vinny. Flashes out that player at split. Josh on the other side. A lot of time left, but the real thing here for Wildcard is they just don't have info. They still have 6 drones up. They'll need to use some of them to find out where these players are.
Flash and a nade is all they've got as well to accompany those drones. There is a C4 still in the hands of Josh. Vinny trying to find and isolate this fight. He hasn't seen Haywood. Oh no is right indeed, but that's the trade that they were looking for, that they were hoping. And so they have been granted. Josh now, what can he get done in the 1v2?
Ooh, nice C4, but Pat is safe on a planned spot. That's a trade and a half, and Pat the one to survive it. Milo does fall, but he does get the winning kill nonetheless. Wildcard, they have got one step closer to tying this one up, and a 3-point win is still on the cards for them.
Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but my parents used to tell me you can't play games in the dark because it ruins your eyes. I think we need to sit down and have a talk with the Wildcard boys, because that cannot be good for their eyes if it's true.
I do wonder what's worse, though. Like, we're sitting here with all these, like, bright lights shining down on our faces.
That's true.
And the players are all sitting there with no lights whatsoever. I feel like a natural balance, some mood lighting, you know, get some RGB. That would be the perfect balance.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Yeah, I guess that's probably a better way of putting it, isn't it? It's now coming back for Wildcard that is really the big question mark here, because we've already seen it, already seen them achieve that. But whether or not they can run it back, you have to say, from the first half and prove to us that they can continue to do so on their attacking half as well. Remembering that, you know, especially in Oceania, teams are going to have a better result on their defensive side overall on Oregon. This really should be favouring Knights at this point, but I guess it will come down to what's the resilience like on Wildcard. What is the morale and the mental like? That's where you got to dig deep.
Well, they've had the resilience to at least take one win, but the concern for me is that Wildcard have only won an attack on Knights' tertiary site, their kitchen meeting. Haven't managed to break dorms or laundry. As we go back to dorms now, this was the retake round that Knights managed to pull off. Wildcard got the plant down, and I believe it was a 2v3 or a 3v4. Oh, surely this is a kill. Haywood full flash, but they don't manage to confirm it. Vinny whiffs his own flashbang. Emo almost loses his life. Haywood still persists here. Wildcard are really struggling at dealing with him.
That's a big opportunity gone begging, and I'm sure that's going to haunt them in the later parts of this round now. It looks like Wildcard are well and truly going to address this extension down below, and oh God, that's what you want to see if you're a Wildcard fan. Executed to perfection. They take first floor control. And now Knights may be the team that have to try and play a little bit more aggressive, that have to try and take these risks, because a two-man disadvantage is not favorable in any way, shape, or form.
It was a nice idea there for Hayward. He actually had Juicy use one of his gases to smoke the bot white stairs to try and obstruct the line of sight as Hayward sprinted past. You can see he got out the pistol, looked down at the ground, tried to just sprint across that line of sight as fast as he could. And it worked. The only problem for Knights is that Milo had taken control through lobby and Z hallway, so countered that well. And now, like you say, 5v3, but Sage is going to take down Milo. Unfortunately, reaching double digits in the death column. Really, it's been a rough one. Now Vinny, Emo stepping up, doing their best to try and make sure that this round does not fall to the wayside.
Well, see, this is where rounds start to fall apart, right? You have that two-man advantage, but you start to go closer to the realm of taking a little bit more of a risk, and Knights start to punish you bit by bit, isolate the fights that they need to. You can't find the trades. All of a sudden, it's even. This is where it comes down to a knife's edge. The next pick could determine the entire outcome of this round.
Good flash. Dino also affected. Juicy goes down. Emo in a prime position. Now he's taken top white. 15 seconds. And Dino put under the pump, but he finds the first.
That's massive. Pat comes in to save the day, and Gio's watching the cross from Pit, and it's beautifully played. Honestly, really well.
Yeah, what an execution. You could see earlier in the round, Pat was checking where the mute jammer was on that closet wall and saw that the far left side was not jammed, so Gio got a breach with the Ibanez, Kairos on there. Then Wildcard basically just stood at every single door and that breach and kind of just made sure they were watching every angle, just all pushed at once. Really well played for them. Even though Dino found the lead off, it didn't matter. Wildcard fought back. Now we're at 5-5, Rob.
This is exactly the game that we had hoped it to be. I think it's been a little bit more hectic and crazy than maybe we anticipated, but this it's just a wee bit there. Just a little bit, you know. Just a bit of extra put on the side, that's for sure. But I guess we are going to see. It's the distance. We have to go the full regulation now. I do love seeing this. Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Overtime's still looming at this point.
Yeah, and I certainly would not be surprised if that's where we're heading. It certainly feels like this is going to be an overtime game. But you know what, Rob? The last time Knights defended Laundry, we saw Josh being a little bit cheeky. He was the one who prone down in T1 underneath the default camera behind that little metal box. And Emo misdroned him, beating to a catastrophic result for Knights, or for Wildcard rather. A fantastic result for Knights. Surely Wildcard are going to be more thorough this time around.
Have to be. Hopefully. No, I think that round in particular would show how thorough Wildcard can be from start to finish. It looked beautiful, and you'd expect nothing less. Again, all that was in it was Emo Rin missing a pixel. 5 pixels on his screen to be able to spot that out, and then that whole round may be completely different. Maybe not. You know, maybe it doesn't. But Emo Rin needs to be careful at the moment. There is a player in Trophy and moving back into Attic. His position now known. Wildcards start to team up a little bit more. Need to be careful here because there are a couple of players isolated for Knights that can definitely take one-on-ones if given the opportunity.
Good clear now for Wildcard. They do spot out that Roma, and Vinny punishes Josh, not able to slip into the woodwork this time around. They'll be very, very happy to take that X Factor down. Josh was, being honestly, a little bit of a ratty player this time, but I mean, that's fine. It worked for him last time around. It's on Wildcard to punish, and they did this time. So really an excellent start for Wildcard, Rob. This is a well-positioned point for Wildcard to start focusing their attention on the site and setting up.
That's just it, the setup. Where do we see Wildcard approach? Is it a frontside take? Do we see pressure in blue? Restage. Many questions yet to be answered because it still feels like it's quite a decent spread. By the way they're standing, you'd kind of assume that they are going to be putting pressure in Laundry as well. But that can all change very quickly. Minute left, and Knights are very calm on site. They are not looking to do anything that might risk an opening. I guess that's the big thing on a site like Basement, Laundry rather. If you do give another opening, there's just so many different angles that you then have to watch.
40 seconds, and it looks like they're rotating for an electrical push, perhaps. I mean, I can't tell now. They've got Geo rotating back main. Is he just trying to bait with some flashes? Ooh, Vinny's going deep. This could be big. In through Freezer.
Oh.
Great flick from him. Traded back.
Man, it looks like Knights are starting to fight back here. Dino, is he going to go unnoticed? Emo Rin manages to find the kill. But this is now coming down to the wire. 20 seconds left. Pat and Geo versus Haywood and Juicy. And look at this push straight into Freezer. Haywood can't find the kill. But they are in prime position. Wildcard start to go deeper. Oh, that's unfortunate. You hate to die to the smoke, babe. But a great round from Knights nonetheless, considering the 4v5 disadvantage.
And a match point for Knights as well. They look serious as ever going into their final opportunity to close this and take the full 3 points home. Great flick as we see the slow-mo replay, but the trade was immediate as well. Wildcard did their best in that 5v4. They couldn't quite commit one side or the other. They couldn't quite decide. While they did have a good opening, they just couldn't stick the landing. Now Wildcard, the best they can do is push for an overtime win now. But Knights still have that full 3-pointer on the cards.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Good to see that, you know, Milo and Vinny have both stepped up a bit more in this half. I mean, 4 kills is better than no kills, that's for sure.
It's just a mental thing, honestly. Like, when you look at the scoreboard, I mean, a lot of people unbind the scoreboard. I think Vinny was one of the players that did that. He unbound the scoreboard button, so you don't actually get in your own head. Because at the end of the day, like, kills don't matter. It's the round win that matters. The only number that matters is the number of rounds. And,
oh, really? Vast told me that the only thing that matters is KD.
Ah, yes, that's, yeah.
Makes sense.
My bad. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just a lowly cast. What would I know? But hey, you know, sometimes it does get into your head a little bit. I know it certainly has affected me when I've been playing, you know, ranked 4. You know, if you're on 0 kills, you're like, oh
I've
my
never
God,
been on
you know?
0 kills in ranked before, mate, so I can't. Honestly, I really can't.
Well, there you go. I'm guessing you've also never been tilted before. So
Me?
you just can't relate.
Me? Come on, mate. You're talking about
Stone
the
cold
Os
killer
Gandhi.
you are.
You're talking about the Gandhi. I am just as cool as a cucumber. I don't think I've ever lost my cool once. Humble as ever.
I'll believe it.
Oh, Dino!
Yeah, right, mate. Yeah, right.
Attackers will cover the bomb.
I'd be mad. I'd be so mad if I was Pat. Unbelievably mad.
You can unbind the scoreboard all you want, but that's not going to help you from tilting there, that's for sure. God damn. And in such a crucial round as well. Oh, man, that is devastating.
The way to start what could be a final round of the match for
Attackers
Knights.
have dropped the bomb diffuser.
Hayward droned out below, but it's one thing to know there's a player roaming and another thing to be able to flush him out. Wildcard consistently struggling doing so.
Attackers have
He has
recovered
seen
their
them win
diffuser.
this bomb site on the attack beforehand. It's a lot easier said than done.
Hayward now coming back. Join his teammate over toward the backside of Attic as Milo pushes up the main stairs. Need to be careful here. Haywood, what are you doing? He's about to be all sorts of cheeky. He has been spotted out. The jig is up, as they would say. But this is still just not looking all that great for Wildcard Dev.
1 minute left. Bit of time to work with.
Attackers have recovered the diffuser.
These
Attackers have located
pretty
the bomb.
extensive reinforcements
Attackers
from
dropped the
Knights
diffuser.
do limit Wildcard's options, but also give them a safety net.
Attackers have
The
recovered
gas
their
coming
diffuser.
through as well
Attackers have dropped the bomb
onto that
diffuser.
breach is going to make Wildcard take a moment to step back. Still 2 gases left, but no, Juicy goes down. If there was any player that Wildcard could pick, it would be Juicy. And now Wildcard have an opportunity to push for overtime.
Dino, what can he get done? I don't think he can swing wide enough to try and deny Geo, so he's going to be all calm, safe and sound, but Milo's not. He goes to the grave and Emo in 2. Vinny and Geo, all that remain. 3 points on the card here for Knights. They need to take this down, but now Vinny starts to step up. Geo, can he do well? It's up to Vinny! Surely he can't bring this back from a 1v3, Dev.
Oh, the impact!
Oh, no!
Impact! Dino with the Pokeball clutches it! What a retake for the Knights! They polish off this match, 7 rounds to 5.
What a way! What a way to close out the game from Dino. A 3K in the last round as well. I don't know if you can hear the big woofer in the background, but he's cheering for Knights too. And a much needed 3 points, and even more so than that, to see the grit and determination in OCN from Knights.
Quite a game, back and forth, all over the shop, up and down. Knights will be very happy that they locked that one up. If that had gone to overtime, they would be kicking themselves that the only reason they wouldn't have won it in regulation was that thrown 5v1. My God, what was that? I feel like I was having a heart attack every 2 seconds. I feel like I have no bloody idea what was going on. Please, we need some professional expertise. What was that game?
I don't. Oh my God, that game was just crazy. Those Emo. Did he get 2 clutches? I think he got what? He got 2 clutches, maybe 1. Yeah. It was really a kind of. It seemed like Wildcard were like trying to kind of play their own game. But from what I saw, it kind of looked like there was like just small mistakes that were making, and it kind of looked a little bit like they were a bit inexperienced. It seemed like maybe Knights were more, the experience really showed in this matchup.
I guess that's kind of what we expected coming into this, right, Dev? We prefaced it in the map veto, the fact that, this isn't a massively played map for Wildcard, whereas Knights, this is really where we kind of expect them to shine, something like Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree usually, but it's pretty clear with some of the strategies that Wildcard brought, and particularly, say, Emo holding with Ella shotgun rear stairs. That's something that I haven't seen from them before. It's something that other teams have done, but they've clearly been working on improving their Oregon, developing a wider and deeper strat book for this map. So clearly I think that the time of this just not being a Wildcard map has changed. They've clearly been putting the effort in. But the thing that I expected we might see from Wildcard and why I picked them was because we've seen Wildcard just come into insane form like they did last night in APAC South. We really didn't see that today, honestly. I feel like Wildcard, they might have played well and pushed this deep, but I really don't think we saw the same form that we'd seen from them in some of their other highlight games.
Now, one thing that's kind of easy to note for us here, Vast, is all but 1 player on double digits on Knights, and Dino was only 1 kill away from making it all 5 players on 10 kills. That's an incredible team performance across the board.
Yep, 100%. They all had their moments. Each round, they all kind of were impactful in their own way. Whereas it's kind of the opposite for Wildcard. I mean, Emo's 16 kills. It took Milo a really long time to get in the game. Vinny was had his moments, but he was still a bit quiet. Took him a bit of time to probably get in the game. And I think that, Knights just being able to just all have a really solid performance and, work together really well, kind of just, it was hard for Wildcard to keep up with that.
I guess there's a pace that can be set from players on Knights that maybe Wildcard just can't keep up with on Oregon, or at least tonight. That's the big thing of what we try to talk about, is the fact that it is night to night and it can be a little bit difficult. Dev, do you have like an overarching thought on this one? I hope you're back now. I'm just going to take a stab in the dark.
I can hear you talking to me,
second.
but I can't hear what you're saying, mate. I'm not going to lie. I think my net has carked it.
Okay, good, Dev. We love to know that you've pretty much carked it on the broadcast. But I guess, Vast, we can kind of have a little bit more of an in-depth look for Wildcard here and maybe try to figure out what's going on, because this now, I mean, it doesn't put them in a dire position at all, but certainly the questions still remain that we've had all season, literally all 2021 season long. Where are the Wildcard that we want to see?
Yeah, they have their moments. There was some really good rounds where they had, the round really worked well for them. Like, they had really good entry. Their, mid game was, really thorough. They took their time and make sure that they were really, doing the right steps and not missing anything and whatnot. But then we just saw a few other rounds where we just didn't see that. We didn't see the quick entry. We just saw them kind of stalling, making the wrong decisions. I think as well, their defense has probably let them down probably the most today. They, Knights started off really strong, really aggressive, but Wildcard, they tried some of these like solo plays, but like they were like not really timing their aggression well. I think that they had some really, good setups. It looked like they have really thought out what they wanted to do. They had a game plan, but I just think they were playing their setups kind of wrong. They weren't timing their aggression well with the rest of their team and whatnot. And I think, Knights were really kind of catching them off guard in the first, few rounds.
A lot of opening kills for Knights as well. Like, they were really opening those rounds up, and I guess that can really start to punish you. Dev, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, mate.
Beautiful. Just wanted to make sure. Thoughts on that one? Are we happy for Knights that they've been able to pull out the 3 points?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Knights deserved the win.
Yep.
I feel like they were the better team in the server. I feel like Wildcard did make a lot of mistakes, but I mean, so did Knights, right? Like, that's why Knights ended up in that 5v1 that they lost. So I think both teams are probably disappointed with their performance in that game, but it's like we were saying in the match, right? You kind of just have to get past it. You have to like just take it on the chin and be like, hey, whatever, like sometimes we played really badly there, but that's all right. Like, we know we're better than that. Let's just work on our consistency, and I think Knights are going to be happy, if anything, that they just got those 3 points on the board.
Yeah, well, you know what? We're going to be able to hear from the Don himself. Let's bring him in. It's none other than Juicy. How are you, mate? It is great to see you back on once again. Kind of felt like we were seeing the Knights that we have hoped for in OCN that sometimes go missing.
Yeah, for the first few rounds, it looked like, full strength Knights, but, we got a little bit, I think, comfortable in the later few rounds and let a couple go that we shouldn't have. So, I don't know, we just fix that up and, we'll be right in the next few games.
Yeah.
So you load into the game, Op Veto starts, and you see Montaigne ban, and you're like, all right, man, I'm angry. I'm just going to frag out. Is that what happened?
I don't know, man. I just, felt a bit confident going into today's game, especially the first few rounds. Got the ball rolling a bit better than it did in yesterday's game, and I don't know, kind of went from there. But yeah, I don't know. Still not completely happy with how we won. It's nice to get the 3 points, but a bit throwy in there.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of promising rounds. I mean, we saw a lot of glimpses of kind of the playstyle we're used to seeing you guys play. I kind of want to talk about, and you're probably not going to be a bit happy about this, but the 1v4, or maybe 1v5, you could just maybe 1v5 with Emo. You guys aren't really a team that I see kind of let that happen. I'd more expect you guys to kind of slow down after Emo got 1 or 2, and then kind of, all right, but, reevaluate what's going on. Kind of talk us through it a little bit.
It was as simple as, I think someone just misheard, or two people didn't want to go through a smoke or something like that. I think Josh and Donna were smoked off in Freezer, and me and Hayward were, pinching the guy. I got a bit over aggressive as well. I wanted the kill, I'm not gonna lie, but no, just a little bit of lack of comms with the 3v1, and that was all. We just gave him the 1v1s, and if you give someone like Emo, he's gonna hit those shots eventually. So yeah, that's all
Absolutely.
It was.
Yeah, it's always dangerous when you give someone like that the freedom to gallop in a bloody paddock, and that's exactly what it was at the end of the day. But look, to be honest, that's another 3 points on the board for you guys. You've got 6 points in OCN, and you're kind of setting yourself up nicely for a good stage 3 campaign. I guess we can just cut it short here, unless Dev or Vast have anything further to add.
I wasn't going to ask, but I was a bit curious. What is in the bottle? What was that blue drink? The 2-liter blue drink you were drinking
just
before the
a
game?
bit of a
Is it the magical juicy juice?
bit of get up and go juice fast. Just, gotta get going. helps with the old age a
Mate,
little bit.
don't leak that recipe, or OCN's everyone's going to be going off.
Look, to be fair, you got off to a rip-roar start, mate. That was absolutely insane, the first 3 rounds. But anyway, look, I'll give you the floor, mate. Any final words before we let you go, as usual?
As always, thanks to the fans and thanks to you boys for the cast. Every week doesn't happen without you. So, as always, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Games don't happen without you, Juicy. That's the main point. It can happen without us. It can certainly happen without us, but it can't happen without you.
Nah, thanks, boys. As always.
Ciao, mate. So they are now sitting close to the top, I believe. I think they're tied with Chiefs, which that will we'll wait and see how that goes later on tonight. But there's no doubting it. They deserve the 3 points, Dev, but it was still probably closer than I think many would have liked.
What I really appreciate out of that interview is just how honest Juicy was. Like, I think he was talking about that 5v1, 4v1. He was like, yeah, we played kind of bad. I got a little bit greedy. Like, he's honest with himself, right? He's not saying that, we got, it was not fair, or nah, he's just being honest. And like, I think it's really important to be honest with yourself, especially when like individually it might not be a mistake, like you whiff your shot, but you just make a bad judgment call, or like be honest with yourself if you get a bit greedy and don't play optimally sometimes. Like, you have to be honest with yourself and honest with your teammates, otherwise you're not going to be able to reel it in.
Yeah, well, that's our first match done and dusted. Our next match has a team that's only on 4 rounds and overt. So let's go to a break and we'll be back after this.